Alright, so this is some review here from algebra for you guys. But each of these formulas, I don't know, I don't like formulas that much because it looks kind of scary. It's like massive, like, oh, you gotta memorize all this stuff. But let's take a step back for a moment. Some of them actually make a little bit more sense than you think. Let's take the midpoint, for example, midpoint formula. You guys know how to find the middle of two numbers? Here, let me give you one. Let me give you a little challenge, I guess I would say. And I'll give you guys 30 seconds to figure it out, maybe longer if you need it. What number is in the middle, don't shout it out, of 8 and 20? Okay, so I had to change the number to 26 because somebody so wonderfully shouted out the answer, even though I told them not to. And you guys know that 17 is our middle number, right? And my favorite way, and actually it's the same way as this formula, is to do this. You take the two numbers, you add them together, and then divide it by 2. When you do that, you find the middle number. Oh, but wait, that's a point, Mr. Patey. How come it's done twice? Because a point has two numbers. If you had two numbers right here, actually we're going to do an example of it later, so we'll talk more about it later. Okay, here's a distance formula. This actually resembles something very closely to something you just learned about something days ago. You guys remember that something?
No.
Can you be more specific? If I had 2 points right here and right here, and I wanted to find a distance right there, you could draw a horizontal line and a vertical line to form a right triangle. And why would you want to do that? Yeah, because you can easily count out the horizontal squares and the vertical squares to use the Pythagorean theorem. Here you would have x, and here you would have y. I put the x in the horizontal one since, you know, the x's go horizontally on the x-axis. That makes sense, right? Right. Okay, so if this was, okay, this is what we're trying to find, d right there, the distance between those 2 points. What would the Pythagorean theorem look like? It would be, let's start with d squared, equals x squared plus y squared. And that's actually almost identical to this right here. Why? Because what would you have to do to get the d alone? You have to square root it. You'd have to go d equals, and you square both sides, so you have x squared plus y squared. Now I'm hoping that you guys can see this x squared right here is the same as this. And this y squared right there is the same as this. Why are those the same? Well, right here, if you actually had the picture, you'd be able to count out the x right here. You can, like, you know, just count the squares, whatever. Okay, but if you don't have a picture, there's another method to find the distance between two numbers. Let's take our two numbers right here again. We have 8 and 26. What's the distance between those two numbers? I mean, I could count every number right here that I have written on the board, or what can I do? No, fool. Use what? No, I don't want the midpoint. I want to know the distance. What is the distance? No, what is the distance between 8 and 26? You don't need a formula for that.
17.
Yes. You subtract 26 by 8. Or you could count. If you start at 8, you can go 9, 10, 11, 12. And you just count it all the way up to 26. What do you get? What is 26 minus 8? 18, right? The distance between 8 and 26 is 18, and you can know that just by subtracting it. That's why there's subtraction right here. If you want to know the distance between these 2 points right here, that point right there, and that point right there, you would just have to subtract the x's, and you would find the distance. And then finally we have our two linear function or linear equation formulas. You have the famous one, the Slope-Intercept Form. I call him Sif. Everybody knows Sif. And then we have point slope form. He's probably the most easiest formula to work with. I call him Big Daddy because from Big Daddy you can get Sif, and you could also get standard form, but standard form isn't here. Oh look, and there's also another formula here. I didn't realize this at first. The slope formula. We'll talk about that one in a minute too. Then we have two other important things to know. If you have a vertical line, it's x equals, and if you have a horizontal line, it's y equals. I remember those because by thinking about the graphs. If I have a line that goes up and down like that, does it have a y-axis or a y-intercept or an x-intercept? It has an x-intercept, so that means this is going to be an x equals equation. If I have a line like this, that goes like that, does it have an x-intercept or y-intercept? So this one's going to be a y equals function. Okay, so let's do one problem with you guys. Okay, so here we're asked to find the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. They're only given 2 points. Let's give ourselves a visual. You guys have this, right? This is your first problem. So I'm going to draw a graph. You don't have to draw a graph to do this every time. I just like it for instructional reasons. I feel like I can explain this better by pointing out things on a graph. So 0, 2 is right there, and 4, 3 is right there. So we have 4, 3, ooh, and we have 0, 2. Oh, I missed it. Thank goodness for the undo button. Undo button. So in order to write this equation, I suggest starting with Big Daddy, because with Big Daddy, it's nice and easy. Okay? Be quiet. All right. Y equals y sub 1 equals m x minus x sub 1. Now, if you were doing this, there's a couple things that you need to have in order to use this formula. You're going to need to have a point, the x1, y1. Well, we got 2 points, so we don't have to worry about that. We have 0, 2, and 4, 3. Let's worry about this m right here. How are we going to find that m? What is m? That is a slope. Okay, so when I say what is slope, what do you think?
Distance between 2 points.
No, it's not the distance between two points. What's that? Oh, you think of a formula, you weirdo. Okay, what do you think when you hear slope? Downhill. That's what I think of too, like a slant, right? Okay, in an academic way, you would define slope as something over something. Do you guys know what that is? Rise or run. Okay, if you know what the rise and what the run are, it's a ratio. It's a comparison between the rise and the run. That is your slope. Okay, look at this line right here. It does slope. Does it slope up or down? Up. So you know it has a positive slope. It slopes up. So what's my rise right here? I mean, I could count it. Look, I can see it. What is it? It's 1.
1.
It's 1. Okay, right. It's 1. And what's my run? Count it. 1, 2, 3. Yes. He didn't say the last one, but I knew it was a 4. Okay. Now that's if you had a picture. But what if you didn't draw yourself a picture in order to find the slope? What would you do?
Equation?
You would find the distance of each of these lines. You want to find the distance of this line, and you want to find the distance of this line. Remember, it's rise over run. So in order to find the distance of this line right here, you have to think about, what is this number? 2 right there, and this is a 3 right here, right? So how would you find the distance between a 3 and a 2? What would you do? You'd subtract them. 3 minus 2, right? Right? Okay. And then you have to find the distance between this 0 and this 4, because that's this distance right here, right? And so how would you find the distance between those? Arithmetically. I mean, you guys are kind of looking at it going, oh, that's obvious. But arithmetically, you would say 4 minus 0, right? Right? So you subtract the y's on the top, you subtract the x's on the bottom. And when you do that, make sure you guys note this. You see the 4 and the 3, how they're right on top of each other? Those are from the same point, right? Okay? If you put 3 first right here, then the 4 has to be first because they're from the same point. If you don't do that part, then you're going to get stuff wrong. If you put the 2 first, that's cool. You just have to put the 0 first. Okay? You'll get the same answer. With the negatives and everything, they cancel each other out and end up with the same answer. So 3 minus 2 is 1, and 4 minus 0 is 4. So we have our slope. Our m equals 1 over 4. So we have y minus equals 1 over 4 times x minus. All right, so which x1, y1 do you guys want to use? You guys want to use the 4, 3, or you guys want to use the 0? 4, 3, you got it. So I put the 4 right here and the 3 right here. Now we get down. You guys know how to simplify the right side? What would you do to simplify the right side? Distribute. You'd multiply out the 1/4. Now, this is good. This is actually an equation. You put this in a calculator, it'll graph it, and you'll get the same exact line that I graphed right here. But this problem asks for slope-intercept form, right? So we have to get the y alone. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to simplify the right side, get 1 over 4x, and then what is 1/4 times negative 4? You guys know I put a 1 underneath the... You guys know what you get? Oh, yeah, you're killing me here. What is 1 times 4?
1.
Yeah, and then 4 times 1? So we have negative 4 up top, and then 4 on the bottom. What is 4 over 4?
1.
Yeah, it's 1. Okay, on the other side we have y minus 3. So we have, I'll make it all clean now. Y minus 3 equals 1 over 4 minus 1. How do I get the y alone now? You add 3. So we're going to add 3. Oh, there's my x. Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so I have y equals 1 over 4 x negative 1 plus 3 plus 2. So there's your answer for the first one.